Blessings, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I'm Dane, your host of the Rock and Metal Guardian. I hope you're doing well wherever you may be on this green, blue, and brown planet of ours. Today's episode is a retrospective, and we'll be talking about Metallica. And so, this is an album that when it came out, I was so stoked about, and was stoked about for the longest time. In recent years, there are some amazing things on here that, because they're amazing, I still gravitate towards, I still love. But as I get older, I find that there's some things on here that I just don't think work. And so today's episode is essentially looking at this album, Garage Incorporated, and reimagining it as a single album. Now, when I say single album, I have to be careful because I mean CD. As is with disc 1 and disc 2, you get over 2 hours of music. If you take the songs out that I'm going to take out and reimagine it as a single disc, you still get 80 minutes. So we're not talking about if it was on vinyl, it would still be, very long. But it's an indulgence I thought that I would take on today, if you will. So, originally, this album, as released with 2 discs, 27 songs, I'm going to whittle it down to 15 tracks, the 15 that I listen to most. Now, what's interesting is that when the 598 EP came out, it was just a few songs. It was Helpless, The Small Hours, The Wait, Crash Course in Brain Surgery, and then Last Caress / Green Hell. Okay, we'll talk about that in a minute. And then on here, Disc 2, that's also Disc 2, what I just mentioned. You have Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg, which were on the Creeping Death EP on vinyl. And then also on here, you have B-sides and one-offs, Bread Fan and The Prince. Those 2 songs were B-sides to things I had on vinyl. I forget what the A-sides were. But anyway, so let's go ahead and get started. If we talk about Disc 1, I'm going to get rid of Free Speech for the Dumb. Doesn't do much for me. Now, before I continue, let me go ahead and say 2 things that are important. Well, first of all, again, this is about some things I think that work well and some things that I think don't work well. So one of the things to talk about before we dive in more is James Hetfield, I forgot how long ago, has recently said something along the lines of that he has disavowed the way his voice used to sound in the early years. Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, perhaps he's talking about Master of Puppets as well. Well, his voice changes with age. I'm sure some of it is deliberate, but I love that thrash style voice that he had. It was heavier. Now it's just kind of a not exactly, but more near to a talking type singing, if you will, which doesn't do much for me. He lost his edge with his vocals, and yeah, it's not to discriminate because of age and that sort of thing, but just being honest, it doesn't do much for me these days. If you watch this channel enough, you know that my love of Metallica pretty much stops after the Black Album, not counting the stuff on here, and then a couple songs here and there. Like I love Inamorata on the new album, and that's pretty much it. Maybe 1 or 2 other songs are okay, but Inamorata is my favorite track on that album. And a lot of the stuff on here just isn't up to snuff when it comes to comparing it to the James Hetfield vocals that I love and know and love. And then some of the stuff on here is the James Hetfield or close to the James Hetfield vocals that I know and love. Now, the other thing is the concept of the garage concept. So I'm a big believer that the first 5 or 6 songs and then Blitzkrieg and Bread Fan and The Prince, songs like that, were songs they played when they were a garage band, essentially before they became popular in the mainstream and putting out their first album and all that. But let's face it, some of the songs on here, I don't believe in my heart of hearts that they were ever playing before they were known. For example, Lover Man. Lover Man came out, the original version, by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds in 1994, and by that time Metallica is well established. So that's what I mean by that. So anyway, garage here in many ways is literal, in other ways it's meant to be tongue in cheek or not literal at all. It's just them having fun. So anyway, not to be taken too seriously. So back to the track. So again, one more time, Free Speech for the Dumb. I would get rid of it. I think it's a mediocre song. It doesn't do much for me at all. Number 2, it's electric. What a great way to begin the CD if you were whittling it down like I am, and that's how I have it in a playlist. Begins with It's Electric. Number 3, I would get rid of Sabracadabra. I know for some of us that is blasphemy, but let Sabbath do Sabbath. I'm a big fan of that. The exception to that would be I like Anthrax's version of Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. I certainly don't like the Cardigans' version of that, as funny as that is. But it's just bland, and it doesn't have the energy and punch of what you get out of Iommi and Geezer and Ward and Ozzy. So anyway, number 4, Turn the Page. Now this song doesn't go with Metallica at all or anything on here really. Well, one more song doesn't fit. I'll get to that. But I'm keeping it. So, and I'm keeping it after It's Electric, and that kind of runs the flow. So at some point, I'll think about rearranging the songs in the playlist and putting that somewhere else. 2 is too early, I think. So It's Electric, then Turn the Page. You got to keep Die Die My Darling. I love this song. Great punk song. That's a song I think they would have played before they were popular. And then number 6, Lover Man. This does not fit with the Metallica shtick whatsoever. It's boring. I'm not a Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds fan much. I like a few songs here or there, but this song is boring. It has no energy. It has no bite to it for Metallica, and the Nick Cave version is what it is. That's how it's supposed to be, and I get that, but I'm still not a big fan. All right, number 7, I just love the Merciful Fate medley is just dynamite. Sometimes I would just play this by itself and just rock out and get up and move. Got to keep that. Next is Astronomy. I had not heard this. I had not known that. What I'm trying to say, sorry, is I had not known that Metallica were Blue Oyster Cult fans. And then listening to this makes me want to listen to the Blue Oyster Cult version. There was a brief time when I thought this was a better version, but no, it's the Blue Oyster Cult version. You change your attitude towards things. Next is Whiskey in the Jar. I'm dumping this one too. This was a song I used to play all the time, this cover version, but now that I listen to it, it's like the Sabbath song. I got to listen to the Thin Lizzy version. That's where it's at. 10, Tuesday's Gone. Metallica doing Lynyrd Skynyrd doesn't work for me, so I excise that one out as well. And then 11, The More I See, I think is boring and dull, so I get that. I get rid of that one too. All right, disc 2. Helpless. Got to keep that one. Love that song. The Small Hours. Got to keep that one. The Weight. Killing Joke song. Got to keep that one. Crash Course in Brain Surgery. I love Budgie. Got to keep that one. Last Caress / Green Hell was wonderful. So I'm keeping everything from the original 598 EP Garage Days Revisited. Of course, I'm keeping Am I Evil and Blitzkrieg from the Creeping Death EP. Those are staples of Metallica, especially the thrash era of Metallica. And then when we get to B-sides and one-offs, got to keep Bread Fan. What a great heavy song. Another Budgie track. Got to keep The Prince. I believe that is... I'm having a brain bubble here. Lightning to the Nations and all that, right? Anyway, that'll come back to me later. So, yeah, got to keep The Prince. That's a great song. Number 10, Stone Cold Crazy. Let Queen do Queen. So this isn't the same thing like Thin Lizzy and Sabbath. Let Queen do Queen. It just doesn't work for me. It's quirky. It's kind of fun, but so is the Queen version, so I'm going to go with that. 11, I Cannot Stand So What. I've never liked the song. I don't want to hear James talking about how he even did something to an old man. To each his own. I know he's not being serious, but it's just too vulgar for me. I don't care for that. Leave that to the rap music community with all the vulgarity and, Nicki Minaj and all that, right? Killing Time, I actually would keep this one. I'm on the fence about it, but for right now, I'm keeping it. And then Motor Headache 95, get rid of Overkill, get rid of all of it. You have 4 songs: Overkill, Damage Case, Stone Dead Forever, and Too Late, Too Late. Let Motorhead do Motorhead. It's dull. It lacks the punch and the resonance that you get from Motorhead. I don't know if Jason Newsted is playing a Ricky here. If he's not, that would explain why it lacks the resonance and punch bass-wise. But if he is playing a Ricky, the production of it doesn't come off that way to me. Anyway, so it's okay. It's not great. I used to listen to it. It's kind of fun and quirky, but now it's like, yeah, I just when I try to listen to these songs, the Metallica versions, where's the Motorhead? It's like when I was a kid and I'd go fishing with my mom and my dad, my grandpa, and my dad would. I'm 18. I'm not allowed to drink at this time, and my dad would say, "You want a beer? Nah. Where's the Coke?" That kind of thing. So that's not the best analogy in the world. So anyway, let's review the songs that I would whittle this down to make it one CD. 80 minutes of music, exactly 80 minutes of music, would be It's Electric, Turn the Page, Merciful Fate, Astronomy, Helpless, The Small Hours, The Wait, Crest Course and Brain Surgery, Last Caress / Green Hell, Am I Evil, Blitzkrieg, Bread Fan, The Prince, Killing Time, and that's it. So yeah, one CD. I have this, as I said, as an abridged version in my iTunes, and I'm going to put it on a disc later so I don't have to skip tracks when I listen to it in the car. All right, folks, tell me what you think. What would you leave out? What would you include? What would stay the same? What would be different? Or do you like it as is? Thank you so much for watching. Take care. God bless. Bye now.